All right, so without further ado, I'll introduce Beck Woolno, who works with schools on behalf of Smart Technologies. And in this webinar, Beck is going to be talking about the Smart Learning Suite and how it can be used for flexible and remote learning, especially at a time like this. So thanks, Beck.
Thanks so much, Nathan, and thank you everyone for joining me. I know that it is late on a Thursday afternoon and well into term 3. Winding down. So I really appreciate you joining me today. As Nathan said, my name is Beck Woolno. I am a teacher of 15 years and I was a primary school teacher. I was a digital pedagogical coach, which is just a fancy way of saying that I taught year 2. And then I also taught our teachers how to teach with the right technology in the right way to actually enhance and augment the teaching and learning occurring in their classrooms. I was a leading teacher in digital technologies, Google, and Apple, Microsoft, and Smart Certified Educator. I was a CISO ambassador, and now I have taken a step out of the classroom a little while ago and joined Smart as an educational consultant, supporting schools in pedagogy shifts from teacher-directed to teacher-facilitated, and supporting them in their journey from face-to-face to remote and blended learning. So thank you so much for joining me today. I can't see you from my angle, so I would love to be able to see who I'm chatting to. So if you could for me, and I'll do this with you just to show you how to do it. And I know Nathan's going to pop the instructions in the chat as well. But if you could go to a browser, go to a brand new browser. It doesn't have to be on the laptop that you're on. It could be on your phone, any device that you've got. If you either get a new tab on your browser just by pressing the plus button up here and typing Hello Smart. And then when you get to hellosmart.com, mine's going to sign me straight in. But what I'd love you to do is click join as guest and then type in this number 95056, this number down the bottom here. This is my class ID. So 95056, and I'll actually see you all populate into my digital classroom as you do so. So it is hellosmart.com in your browser. Join me as a guest, and then type in the class ID 95056, and I can see, well done, Liv. Liv is already in. Nathan's in, fantastic. And I'll just wait for a few more people to populate in. So it can be on your phone, it can be on, thanks Katrina, it can be on your phone, it can be on an iPad, it can be on a laptop, no matter what it is, internet enabled device, and you can populate in. Now, while you're populating in, I'm going to start this next activity. So I would love, and this is what I do with my class every morning. So I work with Victorian schools. In particular, lately I've been working a lot with South Melbourne Park Primary and St Kilda Park Primary, and we talk about engagement and focusing on community building and collaboration and connection. So what we do with our roles now, because we've all got to take our roles, is we do, a digital role. So what I'd love you to do is, I've started this activity for you. What you'll get is a little dialog box in the middle of your screen with select an image. I'd love you to send me up an image of yourself. So we do a selfie check-in every morning, and I'm going to do it too, so I can send it to you so you can see what I've been getting up to today. So if you could send me up a selfie, that'd be awesome. I'm going to send mine up as well, and you'll see it pop up. Now, I am running off my Wi-Fi dongle, so it might be a little bit slow, and we can see, there's the gorgeous Kev. Thanks, Kev. And all of your photos will start populating in. This is me. I was running lessons today with students in the classroom. We're in a different part of the world at the moment. So we've been working with year 11 students in the classroom, which was wonderful today. And I'll just let you all slowly populate in and send your selfies up so I can see you all and all your lovely faces. So this is what we call Shout It Out. Now, this is a really great tool to be able to engage our students in connection or building connection with not only us, but with their peers as well. So we do wonderful things in the mornings like your favorite room in the house, your pets, and so they can send up photos of their pets. We even do wonderful things with preppies the other day where we had a dice that was rolling and it showed us a letter, and then they had to go and take a photo of something in their house that started with that letter. We do you know, 2D treasure hunts where we have circles, squares, and triangles up there in categories, and they have to send up circles, squares, and triangles, and we talk about their answers. So this is a really lovely way to gain content from our students and enable our students to send content to the board so that the teacher can then interact with them. Wonderful. I can see Nathan's got two very happy faces there, which is very gorgeous. Thanks so much for sending them up, and I'll pop back and see how they're populating a little bit later on. All right, this is another little warm-up activity that we do. We want to foster creativity and critical thinking, regardless of whether we're in a face-to-face lesson or we're doing it blended or remote. So what I'd love you to do on your screens is press start, and when you press start, your name will actually pop up on my screen, and so it's the equivalent of you actually writing your name on a PDF that I've printed out and handed out to you. So I can see Gina's already in there. Well done, Gina. Thanks so much. And Katrina's in there as well. So what you can do is I'm going to bring up my teacher handout right now, and I'm going to explain to you what I would love you to do. And you can have a look at the directions if you want, because this is set up so that my students can do this on demand, or if I do this as a live lesson, so synchronous or asynchronous teaching and learning. But just to warm up right now, I'd love you to grab the shapes, and I want you to build a picture of an animal. I'm going to give you 1 minute to build a picture of an animal, and you can resize the shape. So I'm just having a quick go now so I can show you that I'm building a little chicken. So once you're done, you can press the done button right up in the top right hand corner of your device, and that will actually give me a tick. So Kev, do you mind just pressing the done button so everybody can see on the teacher screen what it looks like? So if Kev presses done, he's actually going to have a green tick next to his name, which means Kev's ready for feedback. So I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds, and then I want you to press done so I can pop in and have a look and see if I can guess what type of animal you've created. So this is what we call a handout. So this is the equivalent of me being able to print something out and send it to my students. So this means that every single student will actually get their own individual copy of this activity, and me as the teacher can go in and have a look at that. So I'm collecting authentic student work samples, which is really important. And one of the lessons that we learned from the first lockdown is that it was really difficult to actually collect or know that this was authentic student work. And how do we collect that? Amazing. All right, let's jump in and have a look at Nathan's. Nathan, what did you? Oh, I feel like that's a duck. I love it. You can come off mute and tell me if I've guessed it right or not, but that one is a very cute duck from the looks of it. Penny, how did you go? This one is, oh, that is, my first reaction was sheep, but it maybe looks like a horse front on. I quite like it. That's really, really lovely. Katrina, what have you got? If you want, oh, snake, I like it. I actually have never seen the snake, and I like how you've used the pen, Katrina. That's awesome. So you've not only used the shapes, you've used the pen tools on the side. Amazing work. And let's go, Kev. How did you go? Kev, I feel like you've got a chicken as well. So they are amazing. Well done, T. We can pop into Daniela's and have a look and see how she's going. Well done. And Gina. And then, oh, that's a lovely big animal. Well done, Gina. And Liv. How do we go? Not started yet. That's cool. No dramas at all. So that's just a little warm-up activity. We do lots of little warm-up activities with our class to get them engaged and excited and talking about themselves and helping them make connections with us, with each other, and with the content. Now, what I want to do is I actually want to gauge some prior knowledge so that I can talk to things that relate for you. So I'm actually sending you up a shout it out. In this one, I'm not getting you to send up an image. This time I want you to send me up text. So I've given you 4 categories. I'd love you to tell me or answer these 4 questions. So you can see the categories on your screen. If you press the little select a category, it'll actually have the questions there for you. If you look at the teacher screen, which is your Google Meet tab, you can actually see the questions on the screen. So we talk to our students about student tab and teacher tab. So student view or teacher view. The student view is where you interact with the content. The teacher view is where you see what I'm seeing. So my 4 questions to you are, have you ever used Smart? what student platforms will you be utilizing? So those types of platforms could be Seesaw, they could be, Canvas, Schoolbox, Google Classroom, OneNote, all of those. What video conferencing platforms are you using is our third question. Are you using Zoom? Are you using Google Meet? Are you using Teams? And then what year levels will you be teaching, or are you teaching? Are you teaching primary school, or are you teaching high school? So all you need to do is tap into that dialog box in the middle there, and then you can select the category that it goes into. You can type up your answer and then choose which one it goes into. So I've got Nathan here, and he says, we usually use Google Meet, but we also have used Zoom, Teams, BlueJeans, and WebEx. So right across the board, amazing. I haven't used Smart. I use Seesaw, I use WebEx, and I'm teaching primary years 2 and 3. Amazing. Excellent. So you guys use Seesaw. I am actually conscious I've probably only given you one ability to answer. So I do apologize if I have limited you to one. Oh no, Kat's done 2. That's excellent. So Kat, you use Seesaw. I love Seesaw. That's amazing. WebEx and Zoom, fantastic platforms. And K-6, Kat, that's awesome. Kev, you use Google Meet. And yes, you've used Smart. That's awesome. So what I'm doing is I'm actually getting content delivered to myself. Now, as a parent of 2 students who are Victorian students, they go to South Melbourne Park, I can see the difference between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2. In lockdown 1, we didn't actually use live lessons. We didn't actually utilize this capability where the students were actually having two-way interaction with both myself, the content, and their peers. But and I've been spouting the advantages of having these types of things for a really long time, but to actually see it as a parent affect my child and watch them be so excited that their answers were up on the board, and it didn't matter if the teacher actually called their name out and read their responses. It was the fact that their voices were being heard was so monumental to them that they jumped off the lesson and went, best lesson ever. It's about giving them voice, and this is what these activities enable them to do, is give them voice. And I will show you a little bit how to build these in a second. Kat, yes, you've used Smart, but only a little. Fantastic. So a lot of us haven't used Smart before, which is wonderful. So what I'm actually in is Smart Learning Suite Online. There are 2 versions of our software. When you get the license, you get a downloaded version that you can build content on your device, or you get a cloud-based version where you can build on the fly. That's what I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to focus on the cloud-based software, and I'm not going to do all of this for the entire lesson. I'm actually going to show you how to build, but I did want to get some sort of interaction with you first, and give you a little taste of some of the activities and what it feels like as a student. So the last thing that I'm going to do before I go into talking about blended learning and how to enhance our teaching and learning, our current best practices with technology. What I'd love to do is do this final activity. And all I want to get from you is, what are your biggest barriers with blended or remote learning? What are you finding the trickiest? What are you finding that is actually an obstacle that you either have overcome or that you are trying to overcome? And what you can see is that what we're doing is I'm running a response. We call this Smart Response, feedback to all students. Amazing. That is one of the trickiest things to be able to achieve. And it's not just giving feedback, it's actually making sure that that feedback is being useful, or it's, is it being delivered in a way that it's actually having impact? How are my students utilizing feedback to improve their outcomes? And how can I, have that high impact teaching when I'm in a remote situation? So I love that. I'm going to come back to that one. We're going to chat about that one. Access to technology equity is a huge issue with our students. Not all of our students have a device at home to have access to, or can have access to it right now. There might be one device in the household and mum needs it for work. And so, if you can't get online to the live lessons, then that's unfortunate, because mum, needs to use it, and that's okay. And that's why it's really important that we enable our students to both have live lessons and be able to have access to that really rich teaching and learning environment as an on-demand offering as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this activity for you all. So that was a response. And the beautiful thing about a response is I can actually put in lots of different types of questions, multiple choice, multiple answered, true or false, and I can run it as an assessment for my students. And then you can see here, I can export my results. So if I run a really big, long assessment, or even a short assessment for that matter, with my students, it can be for prep right through to year 12, I can export my results. And what happens is all of their answers have been marked in the background, already been marking automatically for you, and then you can export those results out into an Excel spreadsheet. So I can bring up that Excel spreadsheet and I can have a look at my students' answers. Now, this is going to be a short one because I only asked one question and it was a short answer. And you can see, I can see all of my students' names. I can see their percentages, how many they got correct, how many they got incorrect, and their short answer or opinion questions. And you can see the questions are sitting over here too. And I can give you a little bit more of an in-depth look at that one a little bit later. Thanks so much for answering those questions. So, what we're moving into, and the biggest hats off to our Victorian teachers, because quite frankly, you are at the forefront of this new situation that we're in. A lot of schools, particularly in North America and Europe, have only just gone back to their terms. So you have been teaching in a blended learning or a remote style learning for much longer than most of the world, and you are doing it amazingly. I could not be prouder of the teachers that I get to work with and the amazing lessons that they are delivering. So congratulations for doing such an amazing job. The blended learning and the hybrid learning style is something that we is now going to be, could possibly be the new normal. You know, we could be opening up for a few months and then having to shut down again. And so we need to start investing in technology that allows us to seamlessly transition from face-to-face teaching and learning to remote or blended style learning seamlessly without interrupting the flow, and being able to replicate that environment that we get in the face-to-face learning environment into the online teaching and learning side as well. And so what the smart software does, or why I love the smart software so much, or Smart Learning Suite online, is that it helps us to connect our students out with our educators, with each other, and with the lesson content, with whatever device they've got. It could be a phone, it could be a laptop, it could be an iPhone. They don't need software on their laptop. As long as they've got an internet-enabled device, at some point, they can connect with their teacher, with their content, and with their peers. And that's really important. And what we learnt from the first one, I mean, some of the barriers that we had in the first one was attendance, was actually completing activities, engagement levels of our students. They were so tired of watching another video or having another activity that we have to do. That's just a spot lesson. And our teachers were tired of having to go on and spending a whole day of giving feedback on their activities that they've posted on Seesaw or Google Classroom. And so, and felt like that wasn't sort of being, you know, useful, or it was being heard and impacting their students' outcomes. But the other big things that we needed to sort of look at were providing meaningful feedback. How were we utilizing these high impact teaching strategies in a digital online world? And how were we collecting authentic student work samples and data to be able to differentiate teaching and learning or reporting? And then a really big one was, how are we supporting the social and emotional learning and collaboration for our students in this online world? So what I want to do now is I want to jump out of this, and I just want to give you sort of a little look at what Smart Learning Suite is. And so this is my Smart Learning Suite online. So this is basically cloud-based. You can see I'm in my Chrome here browser, and I've just gone to suite.smarttech.com, and right here you can see here's all of my lesson content. We've been doing lots of maths. You can see there's lots of creativity lessons. These are all of my lessons. Some of them PDF, some of them are PowerPoint, some of them are notebooks that I've built from scratch, and some of them are notebooks that I've actually gotten from Smart Exchange, which is ready-made content for you to run with your students. There's so much out there. Some of them are built for live lesson delivery, and some of them are built for on-demand or both. I deliver 10 minutes of live lesson to my students and set them up and take them through the activities and the expectations, and then my students can then continue working on from there. But what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to take a PDF, because this is really important. I don't want to spend my entire time having to recreate lesson content. I have amazing content in PDF and PowerPoint. I get wonderful content from Teachers Pay Teachers or Teach Starter and from other places. And I want to be able to utilize that, but I want to utilize it in really engaging collaborative ways. So I'm going to do one on landmarks today. And we're going to focus on London landmarks today. This is a PDF that I've downloaded from the internet, and you can see there's a couple of pages here. There's a couple of group activities and independent activities. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag and drop that here. Now, this Smart Learning Suite integrates fully with Google Drive and also Microsoft, so Microsoft Teams. So you can find these inside there. So anything I do with this PDF, you can do with a PDF, a PowerPoint, a Google Slides, or a notebook. And so you can see it's uploading here. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop in here. I'm just going to delete this second one so that it doesn't confuse you today. So I uploaded one previously just in case it took a little bit longer to upload while we're online. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here. You don't have to do anything in your student view. So you joined my class ID 95056. You were already in my class. When I jumped out of that lesson, it would have said your lesson hasn't started, your teacher hasn't started your activity yet. Now, if you re-engage with that page, you can now see, and I can see I've got Anthony, Gina, Katrina, Kev, Nathan, and Penny in my class. Well done. I can see London landmarks. I would assume that you can see London landmarks on your side. When I turn the page, it actually turns the page as well. It's a little bit boring. You're just sort of sitting here watching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm going to edit this PDF and make it really collaborative and engaging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over edit. It can be found here, or it can be found here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to click edit, and it's going to take me into the editing mode. So this is, if you're familiar with Notebook, this is the online version of it. And so when you get a license with Smart Learning Suite, you actually get access to the downloaded software that comes onto your laptop and the cloud-based software that integrates with Google Drive or OneNote, Microsoft Teams. So, and this enables you to deliver lessons to your students anytime, anywhere, from any device. You don't need a board to be able to do it, but the software's there for you to run the lesson. I ran a lesson the other day on an iPad from SLSO, which was really fun. So what I'm going to do is, you can see, here's the lesson. I'm actually going to start popping in some collaborative and engaging activities. So this little plus button down here is the best button in this whole box, and this whole browser-based content box. And what it does is it brings up your add content dialog box. So you can add all of these things. I can add a new page, a YouTube, activities, an assessment, maybe some entry or exit tickets. Now remember, this is just a little taster. If this is something that you're interested in, I am going to go pretty quickly here. If this is something you're interested in, we are running free training for all of our schools in Victoria. It's all remote training, and we teach them exactly how to do this and get them started and get the students on here. So don't worry if this is going too quick. It's being recorded. You can watch it back, or you can connect with me afterwards and we can run a training session for yourselves. So I'm going to start with a shout it out. You'll remember the shout it out is where you had to send written content to me and I was asking you questions. This time my question is actually going to be, I'm going to do randomize, I'm going to do text, I'm going to give you one option to send up content, and I'm going to show your names today, but I could hide your names if I like. I'm going to finish, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the question, what do you know about landmarks? So I just want to do a bit of a quick pre-assessment or formative assessment. Now that was in the wrong spot, so I just dragged it up. So there's my first activity. I'm going to come here. I'm going to leave the title page for now. This page, I actually don't think they need. So what I'd like to do is I'm actually going to delete that page. This is a PDF. Normally you wouldn't be able to do that, but we can delete it from here. Now I want to do a little YouTube video to tune them in on landmarks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that plus button and I'm going to click YouTube. Now this is where the special sauce kicks in. So if I type in landmarks, what it's actually doing is a Bing safe search. So what they do is they actually completely get rid of all of the inappropriate content. It's a white hat search. So what I can do is I can actually preview this video if I want and go, yep, that's the one I want. I'm not going to waste my time doing that today. I know that this is the one I want. So I'm going to click that one and I'm going to add it. Now, the beautiful thing about this is A, it takes up a full page. B, it will actually play inside of my lesson flow. I don't go out to another browser. My students don't have to go out to another browser to watch this if they're watching it on demand. It plays directly inside my lesson. And the best part is it strips away the ads at the front. It strips away the ads or the ticker tape ads that play over the top, and it doesn't play the YouTube underneath. So it has completely stripped that YouTube video out and put it into my lesson. Now it's in the wrong spot there, so I'm just going to drag that up. All right. This one here I'm going to use as a teacher directed page. This one I am also going to use as a teacher directed page. This one here is a small group activity. What I would like my students to do is I would like them to get into small groups and identify London landmarks that they know using a pen tool or a text tool. Now, if I was face-to-face and I didn't have technology, I would have to print this out. I would then have to make it black and white and A4 because we're not going to do color, and we're definitely not going to go any bigger than A4 for budget reasons. And I would have to get maybe 2 students around that page, and I wouldn't know which students did what. So I wouldn't be able to know what students did understand and what they didn't. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn this into an activity. So I'm going to press this button down here. It says convert to activity. Now it gives me 2 options. One is a handout. Handout means that every single student gets a copy, much like your arty party that you did where you had to use the shapes to actually make an animal. I don't want to do that. I want to do group work. I want to do small group work or whole class. So I'm going to go to Workspace. Now this is going to be a small group work activity. So I'm going to do small group work so that we know. This activity here, I want to do an individual activity. I want to know what each individual student knows. So I'm again going to click convert to activity and click handout. Now, if that was paper-based, I'd have to print that out, hand it out, have my students draw the lines, and then have to take it home and mark the spider web that is the lines there. Today, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it in a more meaningful way to be able to give them direct feedback straight away. I'm going to then pull the scope out and talk about culturally significant landmarks. The activity that I want to move to, because we're trying to move towards more personalized learning, more project-based learning, because that's what they're yearning for. Our students are yearning for connection to their peers, independence, ownership over their own learning. And project-based learning is such a wonderful way to be able to do that, but it is really difficult to maintain control or understanding of our students' contributions when we enable them to go and do project-based learning as a teacher in an online environment. And so this is one wonderful way that we can actually do all of those things. So what I'd like to do is actually make this a whole class activity. My students need to go out and research their own culturally significant landmark and then come back to the class page after they've researched their chosen landmark, find a picture and place a picture of their chosen landmark on the map. Now I'm going to come back to that one. Before I do that, I want to introduce them to some culturally significant landmarks. So the way I want to do that is through gamification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that blue button, and you can see I've got shouted out. We've already popped one of those in. Response you've seen today. So that's the assessment. Now, if you're not sure what it is, you can click that button and it'll actually run a video and show you exactly what that feature is or that tool is. So that's where I can collect authentic student data and work samples. But this one here is where I'm going to sit today. I'm going to go to the game-based activities. Now, it gives me 11 templates of games that I can build with my content. So I'm going to build 2 really quick games for you. I'm going to do a Supersort. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go natural and man-made. So I'm going to make 2 categories where my students have to sort pictures of natural or man-made landmarks. So man-made, natural. I'm doing natural first. I constantly get confused. So these are photos I've saved onto my laptop that I'm going to use for my games. And I'm just putting the natural ones under the natural banner and the man-made ones under the man-made banner so that they know which ones are correct. Now, we talked about feedback. Feedback is really effective when it is timely. So time is a really important factor in effective feedback. Mode is also really, really important. So being able to have shouted out and having students send content to the board and then you being reactive to that and giving them feedback on their responses, amazing. But in activities like this, it's really difficult to be able to give them feedback. The best part about these games is that it gives them automatic feedback. So it will automate that feedback. So you don't have to spend that non-effective teaching time giving them feedback on these activities when we can automate it, and you can spend your time on really high impact teaching activities where you are connecting with your students one-on-one and giving them feedback that way or extending them. So what I can do now is I press next, I'm going to choose a theme. Now every theme has its own quirkiness and its own nuance and own way of giving you feedback. So I'm going to choose the pirates today and I'm going to finish. So that's my Supersort. And what I can do is I can come in and preview it, and I'll preview it for you. You will get an opportunity to play it in a second. But if I come in and preview it, I can have my natural and my man-made. And when I get it correct, I'll take my natural over here and do it that way. And when I get it correct, they shoot a shot across the bow. If I get it incorrect, their cannon blows up. So you can see that the feedback is automatic. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another activity, one last one. So I'm going to go in here, game base, I'm going to do match them up. And this time I'm going to get them to match up the pictures of the landmarks to the names of the landmarks. So I'm just going to do, there's the wave rock. All right, so I'm going to do images and names. Oh my goodness, spelling. And then all I'm going to do is type in their names. Oh, that is not spelled right. And then wave rock. Okay, now some of the games will actually give you an option of when they get the feedback. So instantly means if I've joined them together and they're incorrect, they bounce out. When prompted, the second one means that they have to play the game completely and then get feedback. So it's up to the teacher when they get the feedback. So for things like a comprehension activity where they have to put the words in the right places, I would choose when prompted. Or if I'm using Seesaw, I would say, and I wanted to use it as an assessment, I would say give them no feedback and they have to screenshot that and send it to Seesaw so I can mark it. In games like this, I'll actually get them to play it all the way through to see how well they went. Sometimes I use it as a knowledge check as well. So I might choose the flowers this time and finish. So now we're back down to, I've introduced all of these culturally significant landmarks. I've given them names, they know them. They can then go and research their favorite one. And then I want them to come back and do a whole class activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click convert to activity. And this time I've got handout, which is individual, or I've got workspace, which is small group work or whole class. So I'm going to do whole class this time. So I'm going to write whole class. Ooh, it has been a long day. My apologies for my spelling. And then finally, I want to do an exit ticket. So this time I'm going to press the blue plus button and I'm going to come down to questioning and reflecting. So we've already got these templates here. So you don't have to build them or spend time building them. They're already there and lots are being added. So if we have a look at the blue ones here, these are the shouted outs. It's where the students actually send content to the board or to my desktop and I can look at it and interact with it. The ones that are in yellow, they are the ones where I can ask questions and it exports those answers out into an Excel spreadsheet and I can keep that as student data. The ones that are in purple are handouts, so individual activities. So I push that out to each student completes the activity and I get a copy of that student work sample and can give them feedback. And you can see you've got 3, 2, 1s, you've got share 3 things you've learned, cause and effect, all of these lovely exit ticket type style activities. I'm actually going to do 3 facts, 2 questions, 1 opinion. And so I'm going to select that one and it's already in there. So it'll pop it right in the end, 3, 2, 1 countdown. And there you go. I've spent about 5-7 minutes editing that right up to make it a really collaborative activity. So this is a PDF I already had on my desktop and I've just spent a few minutes just making it a little bit more engaging. I'm going to finish editing here And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in. Now, I'm going to get you to experience this lesson so you can see all of the things that I was actually talking about. But I'm going to do it teacher directive first. I'm going to give you a quick snippet of what you can do in the activity and then move you on. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to show you the different pacing. So I can do teacher paced where I'm doing my teacher directed, and then I'm going to shift to student paced where you can navigate yourself all the way through the lesson. So stick with me for me. So I'm going to start this for classes, our first activity, my tune-in activity, and my my formative assessment. So I want to know what you know about landmarks so I can utilize that data, A, to give you feedback, and B, to differentiate my teaching and learning. So all I want you to do is re-engage with your student page, and in the dialog box, let me know what you know about landmarks. So it should be coming up on your page. There's a little white dialog box. Just tap in there and type it up, what your answers are, and then you can then send up your activities.
Beck, is this London landmarks or just landmarks, any landmark?
Any landmarks you want. Significant cultural, social, environmental features. Penny, that is a fantastic response. Landmarks are often historic, wonderful facts. It's like I don't even need to teach you guys. It's amazing, wonderful. So what you can see is I'm gaining knowledge on what you know about landmarks. Tourist destinations, 100%, Nathan, they are. And if I wanted to, as a teacher, I could ask my students to come off mute and talk about, you know, Nathan, what landmark it was your favorite? Have you visited one as a tourist before? You know, Kat, what kind of landmarks do you know that are historic? And we can have a chat about it. So I'm really getting two-way interaction. They're not just sitting there watching a video passively, they're actually actively engaged with what's happening on the screen. All right, I've turned the page, London landmarks. Let's tune in. Now, I can choose for you to watch this YouTube. If you press play, you'll notice on your screen, it stays in this browser. It will not play the ad at the start. It will not play ticket tape ads over the top. It will not play the YouTube underneath. And just to show you, if you're not watching it on your device right now, and just for the recording, for those that are watching it in the recording, well, my internet has decided to drop out. So it's always perfect timing, is it not? We'll give it one more go and let it play. There we go. You've probably lost my sound. And so you can see it's going through there. Hopefully my sound didn't drop out and you could hear me through that. But if it did, it was basically just showing you that you can play YouTube really, really safely. And that's a big deal because YouTube is such a fantastic teaching tool. It's just one that doesn't adhere to the safety policies, particularly if you are running it in an online environment. The students then have to go to the browser. If you can do it just inside your own lesson and strip away all of that, those issues, the inappropriate content and the dangers that come with utilizing that tool, then you're adhering to all the e-safety policies, but you're also utilizing a really, really fantastic teaching tool, because video content is their world. So this is my teacher directed page. I can pick up a pen and I can say, you're absolutely right. It's it's a place of importance. Sometimes it has a sign explaining their importance. I can talk about Buckingham Palace and who might live there. I can also talk about Tower Bridge. You'll notice that the pen marks are coming up on your student view as well. So I'm actually marking this up and you can see it happening. All right, we're into our first small group activity. I'm actually going to set this up. It's going to say, hey, you've got 7 participants in here. How many groups do you want to make? Do you want to make this many groups, or do you want to make a whole class so you can see everyone in one team? Or how many teams would you like? I'm going to make it really competitive. Actually, let's go 3. No, let's go 2. I'm going to make 2 teams, and it's going to pre-populate everybody into one team, into 2 teams. I can, if I want, go, oh, I don't know about Kev and Nathan working together. I'm going to switch them around. And then what we can do is then I can start the workspace. Now, I'm going to come into Team 1's workspace and just show you. If you're on a phone, or an iPad, you will turn it sideways so it's bigger, and you'll also notice that you don't have the tools on the side. All you'll have is 3 little dots. That's what we call the overflow button. So click that and all your tools will pop up. And then you can pick up a pen and you can start circling all of the London landmarks that you know. So I'm going to pop into Team 2 and see how they're going. Wonderful. Now, if I wanted to, as the teacher, if I let them start this and then went offline, and they can do it on demand, but I don't know who's actually done this. What I can do is I can come in and actually click on their activities and click down. I can see Katrina, amazing. You've identified the London Eye. Well done, Katrina. And I can check here. And Gina, you've done a fantastic job, Parliament House. Well done. And Kev's all over it. We've got the cathedral down the bottom there. Amazing, Team 2. You are absolutely smashing it out of the park, as is Team 1. Oh, my goodness. Well done, teacher. Well done, Ellie. You are doing fantastic jobs. So I'm seeing my student attributes so they can go away and they can do project-based learning, and I can, in the one area that I have created, and I can still see what my students have done. And they can do this while it's live, and they can do this on demand. All right. Here's our individual activity. I won't spend too much time on it because you have had experience with this one with the 1 minute creative animals. But if you press start on your document there, you can see that your names pop up. I can bring up the teacher handout. I can give you instructions. I can pick up a pen and I can say, I want you to change colors each time you make a match, and then press done when you're ready. So I can show you change colors just like this every time that you, oh, there it is there, every time you want to make a match, and then tap done when you're ready. So if I get Kev tapping done for me, I can see that the green tick will come up. Now, if I let them go, I teacher direct for a minute, let them start it, and then go offline, and my students work at this on demand, you know, maybe they don't have access to the iPad or the device at the time that I'm running this lesson, they can come in and still have access to this, and they can still let me know when they're done. And I can come in and have a look at Kev's and go, Kev, you have done amazing work, and I can give him a digital sticker. So if I've got digital stickers saved on my desktop, which are, I do have them somewhere. I won't spend time looking. Oh, there they are, my monster stickers. You, Kev, are all over it. Amazing. And so I can write a little comment there for Kev and give him feedback. And I can keep the copy of their student work. Now I'm going to pull the scope out. We're going to talk about culturally significant landmarks, and I'm going to let you play some games. Now, if you press start on your device, you can play right now. I'm going to be really mean, and I'm going to actually move you on. I'm really sorry. I will let you come back. I am just conscious of time. But you can see, we'll quickly have a look at and match them up. You can quickly see that they're popping up on your screen. And you can play these activities. So I've got my picture, my Mount Fuji, and I can match the name of Mount Fuji, and it's together. I can match Uluru, and then at the end of the lesson, I can check it and see I've got them right, and I can readjust if I got them incorrect. All right. This is our whole class activity, and the last one that I'll show you, and then I want to show you one final feature, and then I'm done, I promise. So this time, this is our whole class map. I'm going to put everyone in the one team. So now that I've got everyone in the one team, what I'd like you to do is, what I would do is I would have them go away and do their independent research. They would go away and independently research their favorite culturally significant landmark. And then what they would do is they would come back and they would find a picture of their culturally significant landmark and place it on the map. Now, the way you do that, and I'd love you all to have a go, is click this picture icon here, go into the Bing Safe Search and type in your culturally significant landmark. And then what it'll do is it'll search, and then all you do is double tap the image that you want, and it'll pop up on the screen, and all you do is resize and move it to the map. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to see if you can get your culturally significant landmark on the map. Perfect. I can see a few coming in right now, and you can see we can all work together. And it's a wonderful way to learn not only the content, not only to connect online and collaborate and online and make those connections, but also to learn about digital citizenship as well. So we've got a couple coming in now, and I'm going to be really painful, and I'm going to turn the page, and I'm sorry. And the reason I've done that is because I have been in teacher paced mode. So you can see I'm in teacher paced mode right now, which means I tell you which page you're on, when you're doing it, and how long you're doing it for. But if I've now done my teacher direction, we've connected, we've had some fun, we've done some, you know, creative activities, we've done our role, we've had a chat, we've gone through these activities, I've set them up in their teams. Maybe they're going to go connect offline to do their teamwork. Maybe they need to go and jump on a Google Meet, or they need to go and jump on a WhatsApp team or a FaceTime and talk to their team members about their London landmarks that they know. I'm actually going to push this to student mode now. And you're going to get a message on your screen that says you can go to any page you like in this lesson. So feel free to navigate to those games. Go back to the YouTube and watch it in a really safe way that adheres to the e-safety policies. Go and do the group work. Go and do your independent activities or the whole class activity. You can go to any page you want. And now it's student-centered and it's self-paced. But I still can maintain control because I can go in and I can have a look at student progress and see which students have finished and are ready for feedback, and I can give them that direct feedback. I can go in and I can work with my students one-on-one and have a chat with them. But when I'm ready, and if I am in a live lesson and I'd like to bring my students back to me, all I need to do is actually bring it back to teacher paste, and they're back on the same page that I'm on. So, and that's a lovely way to bring them back. And this is a great way to utilize it, not just in the online environment, but in a face-to-face environment as well. I know there's so many teachers out there that have essential worker students in their classroom, and they're delivering two different styles of teaching. But this way you can deliver the one lesson to all of your students at the same time. And it is such a beautiful experience for the students when they can connect with the students who are at school, and you can put them in the same groups with the online students. So you've got students who are connecting in both scenarios, which is really, really lovely. So this is what Smart Learning Suite Online is. It actually can be embedded into Seesaw. So if you have a look at my lesson here, I can go into Seesaw. It can be embedded into Google Classroom, into OneNote. It's very, very simple to enable your students to have access to this both live and online. It has logged me out, which is unfortunate. But the way that you do it is just by clicking those three buttons, share a link, and then you can get your student access link. And all you do is share that link or copy that link into your Seesaw activity. So you create an activity and click this link here, and paste that in there, and the students can access it from Seesaw. They can also access it from Google Classroom and also OneNote, and any LMS that you're using. You just place that link there. Likewise, if you've got teachers and you're sharing lessons, all you do is get the teacher link and email it to a teacher, and that will actually go directly into their SLSO account so they can deliver that lesson as well. So they get a localized copy of it as well. The final thing that I'll share with you is this. This is Smart Exchange. And Smart Exchange has a huge amount of ready-made resources built by teachers for teachers for both face-to-face, remote and blended learning. And we talk about not blended but connected. Connected learning is what our students are after. They want that feedback, they want that connection with you, they want that collaboration and that peer learning, and that's what they're yearning for. And so that's what we're trying to deliver in this SLSO environment, is enabling that environment where they can develop those skills, those non-cognitive skills: communication, problem solving, critical thinking, creative thinking, connection and collaboration, in the online world as well as in the face-to-face in learning environment. And so there's so many lessons here that are already ready for you to use straight in to your learning experiences. And all you can do is actually type a topic that you're learning about today, and what it'll do is it'll actually come up with lots and lots of lessons based on that topic or the year level that you have selected. Are there any questions, Nathan? I do apologise, I went really quickly, but I am conscious of time and the fact that I have possibly run over, so I do apologise for that. But
no, that's fine. Don't see any questions that have come through, but now's the time, folks. If you do have anything you wanted to ask of Beck, look, there's only, we can definitely, if you want to turn on your microphone, you can also do that to ask a question. I see that Kev wants to have something to say too, so I'll let him talk.
Yeah. Just before
Absolutely.
people go, I'd like to thank Beck and Smart. I've used the software fairly extensively, and as Beck has so clearly demonstrated, it's fantastic in the time of remote learning. And Beck, I think we probably will have in one of our newsletters a smart software product review. So if people keep an eye open for that as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
But thanks again, Beck.
And there is, yeah, no problems at all. And look, for those that might want to try it, there is a 45-day free trial that you can download. If you just go to Smart Technologies, I'm sure that I can get Nathan and Kev to possibly email the link out if you are interested. And feel free to connect with me if you would like to have some one-on-one time or some training, if you might be interested in utilizing it in your classroom with video conferencing. We would love to support you in any way we can. So thanks so much for having me. If you have no questions, I will hand it over to Nathan and Kev.
We do really appreciate it too, Beck. I see a comment there from Penny. Thank you for an informative session. Really enjoyed how it all works together. Yeah, I kind of liked how we were able to kind of test it, even though we had to do it really quick. I liked how we were able to test it as your class. It was kind of neat to see after you'd put it together, then we got to see straight away what it was like to do it as a class, which is a great way to run a PL, I think. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it's really lovely. Sometimes we miss what it's like for the student perspective. We get so wrapped up in how to do it, is that we forget how it feels to be a part of that lesson as a student. And I think that is they're our key stakeholders, our students and our parents, and we need to see it from that side. And what they're yearning for is that ability to connect and get that feedback from you. And so having those abilities there is really important. And I hope that you enjoyed the experience today. I apologize that it was really quick, but I thank you for joining me.